breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to The Daily Ledger with Dennis Sert.
Hey folks, it is Friday, July 17th, 2026. You're listening to The Daily Ledger Show, and I'm your host, Dennis Sert. Great to be here with you tonight. We got some good stories we're going to get into. Quick mic check, looking good. Meta in talks to lease computing power for Anthropic in potential $10 billion deal. SpaceXAI in talks to provide computing power for Pentagon's AI push. NVIDIA, challenged by Apple, narrowly retains Wall Street's crown. SpaceXAI suddenly aborts second Starship V3 launch after ignition. Amazon fixing bug that builds some AWS customers billions of dollars. Sony gets roasted for post celebrating 10-year anniversary of disastrous all-female Ghostbusters. Finally, theaters purge Supergirl ahead of expected early digital release as Warner Brothers cuts its losses. Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, the live stream, as well as the shorts, reels, and TikToks with all your friends. I have a lot of fun editing and clip farming out the videos, so the edits are really where the viewership shines. And yeah, why don't we just dive right in? So, Meta in talks to lease computing power to Anthropic in potential $10 billion deal, the New York Times. A deal would underline how scarce computing power is for AI development, and could create a new business for Meta. So both SpaceX as well, doesn't that look super cool, by the way? Both SpaceX AI as well as Meta are looking to they're essentially kind of folding, and they're saying, hey man, Meta AI and Grok aren't really working that well compared to like the heavy hitters like, Anthropic's Claude, Fable Opus 4.8 model, as well as more recently ChatGPT's 5.6 Soul, which apparently has been scoring well. It's worth noting that Grok, ever since SpaceXAI acquired Cursor, the new Grok build model has come out, and apparently it's doing all right on some of the metrics and the benchmarks. But it still stands that both Meta and SpaceXAI are essentially renting out their compute space to other companies, right? So Meta's doing it essentially, I guess, for whoever rents it out. Like for SpaceXAI, Anthropic is paying them $19 billion a year for Colossus, which is kind of crazy because CoreWeave, which is another company that's in the space specifically for providing computing capacity for AI companies, their entire ARR is 19 billion. So that, in contrast with SpaceXAI's Colossus lease to Anthropic for $15 billion in ARR. Well, they're pretty close now, aren't they? And that's just one customer. So anyways, Meta is in talks to lease computing power for its AI data centers to Anthropic in a deal that could be worth as much as $10 billion over 2 years. Okay, so Anthropic is just trying to amass as much compute as possible. They're kind of the front runners in AI, as we've been saying. The Wall Street Journal exclusive. SpaceXAI in talks to provide computing power for Pentagon's AI push. Elon Musk's company would sell military billions of dollars worth of data center capacity for running AI models. Okay. Yeah. So that's Zuckerberg and Elon are both in very similar lanes here. Well, you know who I'm rooting for? The Wall Street Journal. NVIDIA, challenged by Apple, narrowly retains Wall Street's crown. So NVIDIA has been in front of Apple for a while now, especially with the boom in AI and the increased demand in chips. And apparently today, Apple just kind of took the crown back and surpassed them briefly, but then NVIDIA ended up taking it back. So Apple's market capitalization hit 4.91 trillion Friday, and NVIDIA right behind it, 4.83 trillion in early morning trading. The tech giants flipped back to close the session with NVIDIA slightly ahead of the market cap at 4.908 trillion, edging out Apple's 4.902 trillion, which is soon to be 5. So that's going to be interesting. SpaceX suddenly aborts second Starship V3 launch after ignition. So that's not good. Apparently what happened was some of the engines didn't start, triggering an automatic launch abort. SpaceX AI won't try to launch Starship again until next week, writes Elon Musk. Was hoping to launch the first third generation Starlink satellites into space. Apparently they're super huge. Starlink V3 satellites, absolutely gigantic, guys. Yeah, so here's a human, here's V1.5, V2, and then V3. Yeah, it's supposed to be low Earth orbit. So it says here, in a new video shared on social media, the company compared the size of an astronaut. Okay. The V3 satellites are designed to add 60 terabits per second to downlink capacity to the network, more than 20 times what every Falcon 9 launch carrying V2 mini satellites today adds. Wow. The third generation satellites are designed to deliver gigabit internet speeds to users worldwide, pushing Starlink's capabilities into a new era of performance and scalability. Wow. So this is going to be a huge, huge leap. Using its fully reusable Starship rocket. The company, earlier this week, the company completed its 11th Starship flight test. Very nice. But yeah, it's unfortunate that they couldn't launch it. SpaceX prices tumbled, which I'll pull up now. Tumbled quite a bit. Yeah, so kind of, yeah, not looking too good. Yeah, it says here about minus 2%. Yeah, so minus 10% off of where it started. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Amazon fixing bug that billed some AWS customers billions of dollars. Wow. So normally I'd bust out the pink slip and say fire the engineer, but honestly, like, kudos to the engineer. Like, seriously, this is the kind of bug that we need. Charging your customers billions of dollars. I love that. Honestly, he deserves a promotion today. That Park Place. Sony gets roasted for post celebrating 10-year anniversary of disastrous all-female Ghostbusters, which arguably set into motion kind of the wokeness in the in pop culture we see today. Back in 2016, it says here, perhaps not all anniversaries call for celebration. Sony recently reminded fans that the all-female reboot was released 10 years ago. The film quickly became one of the most divisive releases in recent memory. Many on the internet have neither forgiven nor forgotten. Nice. That's funny. One Instagram user wrote on Sony's comment, "This movie needs to be wiped from our memories." Another added, "It's not too late to delete this post." Who on your marketing team thought it was a good idea to write this post? Yeah, ... No, thank you. Read the room, folks. People had just about forgotten about this train wreck. Why are you digging it up again? It's been years since I've thought about it. I would rather lick the inside of a city bus than watch this trash again. Mm. Yes, very good. Geeks and gamers. Theaters purge Supergirl ahead of expected early digital release as Warner Bros. Cuts his losses. Yeah, so this whole thing has just been a humiliation ritual for James Gunn, Millie Alcock, the uh, Disney or DC executives. Supergirl tumbled out of its domestic top five in the third week of its theatrical run, earning just 3.5 million, continuing the decline that has plagued it since its dismal opening weekend. Yeah, so after Man of Tomorrow, James Gunn, he's likely to be gone. In fact, I would bet on it. On Kalshi, I would. Yeah, 77% second week drop, closing out at 8.6 million. See, that's the thing. Like, again, people don't want to see masculine women. So that's kind of what's going on here, unfortunately. Yeah. And then they feminized David Cornsweat's Superman. Honestly, they should have just given us Homelander from The Boys. I mean, honestly, unironically, Homelander was a lot of people's favorite character. In fact, even a lot of women's favorite character, even though he was kind of an ass. So how about that? I think we're gonna leave it there. Hope you guys have a good weekend. See you in the next one. Peace.